Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's market color session. My name is Sabi Abi, and I'll be taking the first half of today's analysis, which will be covering commodity currencies. By that, I mean AUD USD, NZD USD, and USD CAD. Shortly after which, we're going to go into another analysis on indices and also touch a bit on fundamentals. With that being said, let us see what the market has in store for us today. So I'm starting off my analysis with a quick look at NZD USD on the H4 time frame. And we happen to have one of our points of interest that we marked out from our last analysis being last week, Thursday, where we said we're expecting NZD USD to retrace back into this possible support level and start to buy from. Price is currently there, and when you zoom in, you see that we're starting to see reactions of that level. In fact, it even violated it downward with a number of pips, came back into that zone and starting to react. But for the sake of those of us who were not here last week, I'm going to start off this entire analysis on a clean slate. So what do I see NZD USD on the H4 time frame doing? Major structures started to buy, broke consecutive structures of this buy swing that we had. And when price was around here, so sometime a while ago, rather, I was expecting it to continue to sell into the zone. However, we've now seen a break, or rather a change of character, a confirmatory break of structure around this zone. And zooming in, you see that price has now printed a new sunshine, basically meaning that because of this sunshine, we could see, buys, which could be either a retracement or a reversal. A reversal meaning that you could just continue to buy, right? So downtrend break of structure is to the upside, momentum to the upside, pullback is kind of sloping, just almost straight like around here, and trend is still upward. Having this in mind, I'm thinking there should be some buy moves on NZD USD. So I go down to H1. And on the H1 time frame, what am I expecting? Because I know that I'm expecting temporal buys, you can see it already happened. I'm going to mark this as a zone that could serve as resistance to hit price and maybe continue down. Because looking at H1, you see that we've seen another change of character to the downside. If price hits this resistance at 0.57960, we could see a temporal push of NZD USD into the zone or even this zone. Then if that happens and NZUSD still maintains a buy move, we could not be seeing something like this. Tap in, do this, and start to buy, or it would even tap downward here into the zone and start to buy. This could now be what we see on NZUSD. Go back to H4 so you can now see. So sunshine printed, we buy, hit this, we see temporal sells into the zone and continue to buy upward. However, if this resistance level holds, then reactions would show us that it's going to hold. And then regardless, we're still going to catch these moves because of confirmations that we're going to see on the M5. What are those confirmations like? We want to see yesterday's high, low, day before yesterday's high and low marked out on the charts. I know it looks like a lot. I don't want you to get confused, please. So just take note of the price point that I am marking out. The highest high of yesterday is actually here. So mark that into today's price movement. Adjust this, drag it down into yesterday's low, marked out into today's price movement, day before yesterday's high. Right. Sorry about that. So these are now the 4 points of interest I'm watching out for. Price is already reacting off of day before yesterday's low. If you see sales here, confirmations, we could take quick sales from it because this level could hold. If it doesn't, this hold. That's just the idea behind points of interest. If you don't hold, this should hold. If you don't hold, this should hold. If they all get violated, then we'll be seeing more buys happening, without even giving us that deeper retracement. So that's my bias for NZD/USD. As a quick recap, what I'm seeing on this asset class is that price is already giving us signs that it's going to buy. The buyer is already buying. So we mark out points of interest, basically stating that we know that this could either tap in, react, and continue to sell downward, or it could break through and buy somewhere into 0.58650. If that happens, go to H1. What points of interest are we looking at? Points of interest one is 0.57960. Break above, continue buying. We know that the buy is back in full force, targeting the H4 level. If it doesn't and it reacts, then we're going to be looking at a temporal sell either into 0.57672 or 0.57058 before the buy resumes. Simply put, that's basically what it means. So please mark that out on your charts if you do not have the indicators to serve as a guide. That's why I'm calling out the price point. AUD/USD on the H4 time frame now. What am I seeing? I'm going to zoom out so I see the bigger picture. This guy is showing more signs. Currently at something that could serve as a resistance. This is a resistance on around 0.67050. Right? So zoom in now. Break above. No sunshine has been printed. What does that mean? There could be more room for AUD/USD to sell downward. Now, where could this room stop? Where could this sell stop? Point of interest one, point of interest two. Just adjust this into today's analysis and take this off. Point of interest two, 1 to 0.66105 and 0.65457. Price could sell into these zones properly before we see that sunshine printed on H4. That would highlight to us that AUD/USD is going to start to buy. Do you understand? So since we have that in mind, just go ahead and mark out 5 minutes highs and lows and wait for price to give us confirmations on the 1 minute time frame. Beautiful. So these are now the 5 minute time frame POIs that we're watching out for. We want to see what price does around these zones. If you find support here, we could see more push of AUD/USD start to buy from around this zone continuously upward. If they don't hold, then we know they're targeting these other levels on the H1. Then USD CAD, H4 time frame, what do we see? This is to the downside. It has broken so much structures to the downside. Momentum and pullback are facing downward. Even the trend for sunshine has been printed. So this is going to be a temporal buy situation for USD CAD, basically a retracement, so we can continue down move. So retracement levels are 1, 2, and 3. These are the retracement levels we're watching out for. 1.37834, 1.38848, and 1.39893. So please keep that in mind. And then on the M5, mark out yesterday's highs and lows and just basically wait. Now, the period we're currently in the market is quite dicey. So this could even be more of a study session for most people. You may want to study more, wait for January, because this market can just be doing anyhow, especially in this time. But these are the levels we're now watching out for. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll see what happens. If it's upper level holds, then we know that you're going to see more buy opportunities of USD CAD into 1.38848. Even if you're drawing a swing, you still want to see a deeper retracement before you continue the sell move, because you don't want to be catching the crumbs. You won't be so secure when you're trading a move that has already happened for so long. And that is it. That's basically it. So if you understand, let me know in the chat box. If you have any question, also let me know in the chat box and I'll answer them before we take a short break and then move into our analysis on indices. Amazing. All right. So thank you so much for joining. Let's go on a very short break. We'll be back in less than a minute or two to wrap up this market color session. We look at indices and touch a bit of fundamentals. Cheers on the best.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second part of this market color this morning. How are we doing? Hope we're good, hope we're fine. So we'll be looking straight to the equities market, the US market, the S&P 500, US 30, and finally NASDAQ, right? So right now, let's go to our chart. Let me share my screen and then we can start. All right. All right. Starting with the US 30, I believe you can see my screen now. With the US 30, we saw the market pumped to the upside and then we're seeing a sell-off. I believe this sell-off is temporary. This sell-off is temporary. Last week we saw the push to the upside, which was really amazing, right? We now have a proper break of structure. Price has created a new high, signifying that we are bullish. This bearish pressure is just for market to reprice and then continue in its original direction. This I believe strongly is what will happen. All right, so looking at the lower time frame, let me look at the 1 hour time frame. This is a very valid order block we have here sitting pretty much, although we have two other blocks, which is quite tricky, this and the one below, right? But then this is it. If we have any form of engineered liquidity happen here, then we are good to go. Meaning I see something like this price continue to do its thing, and then we have something like this price takes out this and then continue, right? Sorry, let me bring that back. Okay. All right, so we have a form of engineered liquidity, price break structure as though it's beginning to buy to the upside and then eventually clears structure to the downside, right? And we have something like this. Beautiful, right? Sweep around this zone for it to continue. Then to be a very good setup for us to take this morning, right? For a buy to the upside. So that's pretty much it on US 30. Let's move briefly to US 100. On US 100, you can see the market is actually selling off from this zone. Wow. And I actually saw this zone, but then it was looking a bit dicey. This is really good to know, right? And then price is eventually, for this, it hasn't broken structure yet to the upside, it didn't clear its own. So for this, we are kind of bearish on this market, in this market. And looking at what we have, price is definitely going to clear all of this. Let me put it on the 1 hour time frame, see if there's anything there. Price is definitely going forward to clear all of these price movements, all of this low, right? All paraventure. But then there's no place to us to enter this market except for this fair value gap, right? Except for this fair value gap above here. So that's the only area that is looking as though it's suitable for us to enter, the market. What we have here is not looking as though it is suitable. All right, but then what do? We just continue taking our trades, right? We just continue taking our trades. We have no option just to do what we need to do. All right, so that's pretty much it on US 100. And also US 100 has similar, almost like similar analysis with US 500, that's S&P 500. Right, you see, both of them didn't create new high. Okay, this actually created a new high, but then just tapped into it and then, started selling. Okay, if that's the case, then we should expect that, the bullishness of this market will continue for S&P 500. It will continue. Let me look at the 4-hour time frame. The 4-hour time frame is going to give us heads up into what to expect, right? S&P 500 have this fair value gap here, but might not hold significantly. Then I'm looking at this zone for price to sell into this zone, from which we can now, start expecting more push to the upside, right? Start expecting more push to the upside. Right. But for now, I'll be looking forward to selling this packet, right? To actually selling this market. That's what I'll be looking forward to do. This morning, all things being equal, price gets back into this zone, I will definitely sell it. All right. So that's pretty much what we have going on this morning. Thank you so much for joining. If you're watching from YouTube or from Zoom, we say a very big thank you to you. And then, season's greetings. I wish you Merry Christmas in advance. Take care of yourself. The market is quite slow in this period. So, just do well to stay safe in the market, all right, in terms of placing trades and the rest. You could as well just move to synthetic, which is not affected by seasonality, fluctuations. All right, guys, we meet again by 2 in the afternoon for the New York market colors session. Thank you so much for joining. I wish you a profitable trading. Cheers and God bless.